All right, what's going on, everyone? I hope everyone's having a good weekend. Later today, Chris Eubank Jr. is going to be fighting Liam Smith. All right, so be tuned. Make sure you're in tune for that. I'm not going to be covering the fight live today. I'm not going to be home, but it should be a good fight. It's going to be a Sky Sports fight, but I think the Zone is broadcasting the fight as well. All right. Francis Ngannou, undisputed heavyweight champion in the UFC. Well, former heavyweight champion. He's leaving the UFC and he's looking to get into boxing. Now, I don't know all the details on why he's leaving the UFC. Obviously, there's some business problems with Dana White, and they both came out and spoken on their sides of the story of what happened and why everything fell apart. There was some other fights. Well, there was one particular fight I guess I was kind of interested seeing in Francis Ngannou fight in the UFC before he left, and that was the John Jones fight. Not that I think John Jones was going to win that fight. I kind of thought it was like a mismatch because of the size difference. John Jones is probably the greatest MMA fighter, or at least one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. And even though I did have some interest in the fight, I honestly thought it was just too much for John Jones, especially because he hasn't been that active. And I know he's bulked up over the years, but I just thought it was going to be too much. All right. But I did like the Cyril Gahn fight. I honestly think that Cyril Gahn was the best opponent for Francis Ngannou before leaving. I remember watching the fight live. I was very excited for the fight leading up to the fight because Gahn is such an athletic fighter. He's a big athletic in the way that he moves. I figured that Ngannou was going to have some issues in that fight, but Ngannou has improved over the years. He's still getting better. But now he's looking to cross over into boxing, and there's been some talks about it. I know he recently was there when I think when Tyson Fury beat Dillian Whyte earlier this year. I know Dillian Whyte has gone back and forth with him a little bit, not just recently, but in the past, because Dillian Whyte is a former MMA fighter. I believe he was a kickboxer before becoming a pro boxer, right? So he has experience there, and he has said that he's willing to do a 2-fight deal with Francis Ngannou. Like, I'm willing to go in the octagon and fight you, or I can fight you here, or we can do 2 fights, one in a boxing ring and one in the octagon, and I'm cool with doing both. He said something like on the lines of, boxers are usually trying to bully these MMA fighters by bringing them into the boxing ring, but will never go into the octagon to fight them in their background. So Dillian Whyte said he's open to doing that. I think that's a great idea. Me personally, and I said this on Ringside Reported the other night when I joined their panel, if Francis Ngannou is serious about joining and doing boxing, and I think he should, because the amount of money he's going to make in a boxing match will probably be a lot more than he would make, continuing to fight in the UFC. If he is going to lead the UFC, and I think the first option should be, let's see if he can get a huge deal with another organization MMA wise, and maybe he can get like like a, I don't know, like something over $10+ million deal in another organization that is willing to pay him more than 5 to 10 times more than what he's gotten paid in the UFC, or go to boxing and go straight into a big name fight. Do like how Conor McGregor did it. Don't go over to boxing and have a tune up. I think that would be a huge mistake, because if he happens to get beaten by a normal guy that would be considered a tune-up fight, that would be a huge mistake, and he'll get outboxed, and then the value of a big name fight wouldn't be there. If you could get a Wilder fight or a Fury fight, obviously I want Fury to fight Usyk first. Obviously I want the top tier fighters to fight each other in boxing. But if there's an opportunity, if there's a window in there to fight a Deontay Wilder right away, or Anthony Joshua, or even as low, and these are the only names that I can really think of. If it's not Fury, if it's not Wilder, if it's not AJ, if it's not Derek Chisora at the bare minimum, Derek Chisora or Dillian Whyte, don't do it. I don't think it's. I think it's pointless. Go straight in there to a top tier or a fighter in the heavyweight division with a huge name, where you can make $10 million. You can because people are gonna watch the fight. Boxing fans are gonna watch it, and MMA fans are gonna watch it. Go straight into a real fight. And I feel like if it is someone like Derek Chisora, which would probably be the least difficult fight, and I'm not saying it would be easy because he might lose that, but at the bare minimum, at least Chisora has a name. I mean, I don't know if it would be. I don't know if it would be a matchroom boxer. I don't know, but Derek Chisora being a fighter from the UK, let's see if they're willing to put the money up. You want to go somewhere that's willing to pay you to take that fight. Anything else doesn't make sense to me. I said we brought up names the other night like Eric Molina, or someone that is just not a top tier guy, but it's like a normal tune up guy. What's the point? What's the point? You're not looking to be heavyweight. You're looking to get paid, you know? And you're not looking to, like, let's say this boxing thing just really doesn't work. Because the way I'm thinking, even though he's a huge puncher, he's one of the biggest punchers over there in the UFC. The way his knockouts were, I mean, did you see what he did to Alistair Overeem in his lip? He basically ripped his face apart by punching him. Did you see the violent knockout of Stipe Miocic in the rematch? If he's able, we know he has a big punch, but can he go 8 rounds with an experienced boxer that's not elite, without gassing out and possibly getting outboxed? I don't think so. I think, and if he could, it's just a huge risk. So what you want to do is go in there with a name, someone that's going to earn you a lot of money. So if you do lose, right, and you end up getting outboxed, it won't be so bad because you're doing it against a name and a fighter that people respect, and you'll get a lot of money from it. So if he is going to take boxing and go the boxing route, go straight to the top. Your name is big enough. People know you enough to where you can get a big name fight like Conor McGregor did with Floyd Mayweather. All we got from Conor McGregor was his sparring match with Paulie Malignaggi. All we got was that. And we only got a little pieces of that sparring match that they had, where McGregor just put out video of content of where he was looking good against Paulie, and it was also helpful to sell the fight. Guys like Francis Ngannou or John Jones or what's the other fighter that beat the Russian fighter that beat Conor McGregor? You guys know who, I can't think of his name right now, but these guys that are very familiar in the sport, even if you're not an MMA fan, you've probably seen their name or heard of them or seen them fight before. These guys, if they're gonna go to boxing, go straight to boxing. But I think out of all of what we've heard so far, I like the deal that Dillian Whyte proposed because it will be beneficial for both, because Dillian Whyte does have some of that MMA experience and going in there and using his boxing experience and kickboxing experience and to fight Francis Ngannou. That would be great. That would be great for him to be willing to do it. It'd be good for him. And to have the boxing match, White has a name, you know what I'm saying? His purses are pretty high. So that would be great. I like that idea more than any, right now. I mean, obviously if you got an opportunity to fight Deontay Wilder, go for it, but I think those seem to be a little bit more realistic when it comes to Wilder, AJ, and Tyson Fury. But Wilder and Chisora seems to be a much more realistic, and I think uh uh I said Wilder, no, White and Chisora seem to be more realistic. And if I were to go with anything, I would probably go with White because he's been more successful as a boxer. Plus, he has the MMA experience as well there, and yeah, that's just my opinion. I mean, I really have nothing else to say. I just want Francis to become successful and make a lot of money. I mean, he's already successful, but I want him to make a lot of money. I think he's definitely earned it. I mean, he's had pay-per-views. He's given us classic performances, huge knockouts. You know what I'm saying? Like he left MMA beating a guy that a lot of us thought was had a good chance of winning uh and gone. So now that he won that fight and now that his UFC deal is done, uh make some money, whether it's going to be another MMA organization or boxing. But if it's going to be boxing, I like Dillian Whyte for a 2-fight deal, and I like Derek Chisora as a backup. But anything else, as far as the heavyweight division, it's not that many names there. So if you're not fighting the super elite, and I'm not even saying Usyk, because Usyk is just too good of a boxer and not the biggest name. So I'm thinking AJ, Wilder, and Fury. Those are big names. If you can't get those three, go for White and then go for Chisora. And if it's not one of those five, I don't see the point. I don't see the point. I don't see the point in doing tune-ups and boxing and possibly getting outboxed, because you probably just don't have the stamina, the conditioning to go a lot of rounds at a high level. I mean, he's improved, and his conditioning was very good against Cyril Gahn, but I remember the first Miocic fight where he slowed down. I'm thinking like that, but he's improved since then. So hopefully we'll see. We see. But boxing cardio is different from MMA cardio. It's just totally different. It's two different sports. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it, man. I just want him to just make a lot of money. All right, and I think those are the best ideas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you got any other ideas or where he should go, what he should do next, and who he should fight in a boxing ring. Share your ideas in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.